So this is part 2 of our lesson on persistent data in our Android applications. And so we previously created a little interface for collecting the first name and membership number for our little reward status check program. And we set up a listener for our button using the onClick event and gathered that information into variables, and then I showed you how to store that information in the Shared Preferences section using key value pairs. So in this video, we're going to go ahead and set up the second activity. So after this persistent data is saved in our XML file, the main activity is going to start a second activity. And that second activity is going to be responsible for retrieving the persistent data. We're going to do a couple of conditional ifs to determine their kind of reward status with their membership number. And then we'll display that information for the user. So I'm going to come over here to my File Explorer section, and I'm going to create a new activity. And I just want a blank activity. And I'm going to name this, let's name it status. Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and finish. And it will give us our new status.java file. And remember, we'll need to add the line right here. Let's go ahead and put it in to start the second activity. So here we'll do start activity. And we have a new intent, and so it's going to be main activity dot this and then status dot class. I did a tab. Oh, go ahead and do your Alt Enter there to import in that intent. So that's what, after we've committed that information to the Shared Preferences section, this is what's going to start our second activity over here, the status section. So over here in our activity status XML, we're going to need to pick a theme. And I believe I'm using the hollow light with the dark action bar. We can just keep them the same. Let's get rid of that hello world. I am going to need a couple of controls. I'm going to need a text view. Let's do medium text here. And we don't have to put any text in it. We're actually going to programmatically change what shows up in this. But I'm going to name this result text. And I also want an image view. Just plop that down right there. And I'm going to name it image status. And we're going to programmatically choose which image shows up there as well. So I actually have 3 images that I need to put into my drawable section for gold, silver, and bronze level. So I'm going to go ahead and grab those. I've got gold, I've got silver, and I have bronze. And I'm going to programmatically determine which image is shown in that image status control based on the membership information that we're getting back from our shared preferences. So let's go ahead and instantiate these controls in our onCreate section of our second activity. So I'm going to put I've got my text view. This is my result. And so that's going to be a text view. Find view by ID. I named it result text. There we go. And then I also have my image view. Just name it image. Find view by ID. Image status. So there are my 2 controls for the status section. status activity. So retrieving the data from the shared preferences XML section is just about as easy as it was to store it. Likewise, you saw that we had 5 different methods that we could use, one for each of the different data types available, that allowed us to put string, put int, put long, put float, put boolean. So likewise, we have 5 get methods that we can use with our shared preferences object to retrieve those types of values. So here we're going to retrieve the stored values from the shared preferences object. So we, just like before, and if you want to put this up here with your other instantiated objects, that's fine. We have to set up the shared preferences object. It's the exact same syntax that we had over on the other activity. So our preference manager, get default shared preferences, this. And so to retrieve, we'll need a string. See, this was name. And so that's going to be our shared pref dot get string, and then it was key 1. And then we need an int for member number, and that's shared pref dot get int key 2. Oops, that's a 0. And that's it. That will retrieve the data that was stored by this particular item. Now, if you wanted to retrieve information by a particular value, you could actually set this up. Let me show you over here. Editor. We could do a put int. And instead of key 1 and key 2, you could actually store this by the first name as the key name and the membership number as the value. So you could look them up by first name instead of by the key. So if you wanted to retrieve the membership number by the first name, you could then feed the first name in as the key value that you're looking for, and it would return the membership number, right? Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, so we're going to create a couple of if statements in here just to practice some programmatic logic, and then we'll determine which one of those images to display and what text we want to display. And I'm just going to do this by membership number. So if the member number is greater than or equal to 1,000, then I'm going to take that image control, and I'm going to do set image resource as r.drawable.gold. And we can go ahead and set the result text to gold level. So we can do another check. We can do an else if the member number is less than, and I'm just making up arbitrary levels here. Let's say less than, if it's greater than 350 and the member number is less than 999, because we went to 1,000. Then I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do silver. I'm just creating arbitrary levels now. For example. And then finally, you could do another else if, or we could just do an else. Do the same thing at the bronze level. So depending on what you input for your member number, you should be able to check if your logic is actually working correctly. And at this point, we should be ready to test. Now, we didn't do anything with the name information. If you did want to put it into this result text, you could do that as well. We could set up a little concatenated string here with that variable, so we could actually say, let's see, it's a name, and put you are gold level or silver level or bronze level, and that will actually display the person's name in that text field as well. So I hope this has been helpful in understanding how you can put information into the shared preferences object via key value pairs, and then be able to retrieve that information, make decisions with it, and choose how you're going to display information.
So here is the test of our reward status check app that we wrote for our persistent data lesson. And so let me just give you an idea how this works. I'm going to type my information into the text, edit text controls. And I can't do this while I'm holding it over the camera, so let me type this in. And remember, the membership number is what we based our logic on. So I'm going to set mine to 1500. So I know that because the logic we set up in our program says that if it's 1000 or higher, I'm gold level. So when I submit, let's go ahead and get rid of that, and hit find status, I see, Tiffany, you are gold level, because I am pulling in that persistent data from the shared preferences section and concatenating that string together, and then I'm seeing the gold image. And so I can go back and I can change this number. Let's change it to 100. All right, you can see it's 100. And I can hit find status, and now I can see I'm bronze level. So you can check your logic and check that you're getting the right values from your shared preferences, the shared preferences XML, and that your logic is working and that data storage and retrieval is working.